Is that us, Sean? Thank you very much indeed. I would say about 97% better is Rowan through the cold. Have you had the cold, Liam? Liam,
I've avoided the year.
Yeah,
I'm
have you
lucky,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're very lucky. Because when Liam Fitzsimmons, the vet, goes out to look after creatures, he needs to be on top of his form.
You have to go out whether you're sick or not. That's the sad thing about our job.
Yeah. Well, listen to me.
I will try.
Look
Same
at me.
with you.
I'm here. I do this. I have to come here whether I'm sick or not
It's a
and
vocation.
do it.
A vocation.
It is actually a vocation, and I whisper that. I don't let on to them in case they think I'm enjoying it too much. And then they might say, well, you should pay us because you're enjoying it, you see.
Yeah.
So I whisper that. I wouldn't tell anybody that at all in the whole thing. What sort of week has it been for you, Liam?
Spring.
You're over at Newry Veterinary Centre.
On Patrick Street,
On
that's
Patrick
correct.
Street, yes.
Spring has sprung. The large animal has started.
Wow.
So the lambings and calvings are in full swing. So the large animal vets are busy.
Yeah. Now,
And busy nights as well.
Are the creatures calving and lambing out of doors or are they in cover?
Most of them could lamb and calf in undercover.
Undercover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
because,
problem is now the weather. How do you put a newborn animal out into that there?
well, you can't,
You can't exactly.
you know. But I mean,
Cold itself is not bad. It's when
Yeah.
you get a combination of wet and cold,
Wet
then they
and
get
cold.
hypothermia.
and they will get hypothermia.
Well, lambs can get hypothermia.
Yeah. What's the similarity between the Down and Armagh football team and newborn lambs? They get hypothermia. They did at the halfway mark in
Yeah.
the match. They got no sort of halfway mark team talk, but they were told to go take a shower.
Warm
And
up.
then, shivering and shaking. Yeah. Oh, for goodness sake. So, what's the answer for farmers if they can't put lambs out? Do they keep them in byres and straw?
You have to keep them in. The problem is not all farms now have the space, and the day of the buyer has long gone.
Yeah.
The old houses have been knocked down, and they're
My goodness. So they have to think about these things.
Well, you suppose compared to the south of England, we're getting away lightly.
We are. But that's the south of England, livestock gone, I would say.
I don't know how or what they do. For the farmyards, I saw horses been moved last night out of the floods. So I assume farmyards and all are flooding.
Nowadays, you mentioned horses there, and it brings to mind the predicament for horses caused by the recession, because people don't have money for them anymore, and horses aren't always a priority to shift out of dangerous areas.
No, they're not.
A lot of bold people actually don't care too much.
And the problem is if a horse is put into your field, you're actually responsible for that horse under the law.
Really?
You cannot turn it out.
Can't.
So, little wonder, a lot of the fields are padlocked along the main roads.
Of course. So the lambing season has started, and those lambs now born now, you'll keep them in very, very good health so that they can go to their death smiling.
That's exactly it.
How long have they got? How long do they live before going
Easter
to
is a
market?
big market, but they can live for up to a year. As
Yeah.
I say, a lot of yos would have lambed pre-Christmas for the Easter market,
For the Easter market.
especially in France. It's a huge market.
Do you? Are they slaughtered locally?
They are, yes.
Yeah. And do you sometimes have responsibility for checking the slaughterhouses and that everything's okay?
Thankfully, no. That falls under the remit of the Department of Agriculture.
You say thankfully no, you wouldn't like that.
I don't like slaughterhouses.
No.
As a student, we had to do our time in them, but it's a side of animal production that you don't particularly relish. Or
Two things. In the recent past, I was in conversation with two slaughtermen, just out and about, not in the slaughter. They were off duty and they were having coffee and whatever, and we got talking. And you know what appalled me? They took a certain... They were not, let's put it kindly and say, they were not remotely perturbed by the fact that they felt the creature going to the bolt gun knew what was going to happen, was nervous, and did its best to avoid it, and panicked. And they felt that this was almost funny.
a lot of the slaughterhouses now are set up in such a way that the animal doesn't know where it's going.
Really?
Yeah, they cannot see, and the way they are ducted, they can't smell either.
Can't smell either.
But it's the animals are stressed. It's a strange environment.
It is.
They're out of their home.
It's enough to drive me to vegetarianism.
Possibly, yes. I
Then
know.
the problem is when God designed the universe, he thought, I'm going to give Rowan 2 incisors here.
Yeah.
Just as I give lions and tigers incisors up here. And you will, they weren't put into you for eating lettuce.
But we're omnivores.
We could take the lot. We could do it then.
Yeah, we can. We can do it.
Yeah, we could do it. That's an interesting thing.
The only thing is, if everyone was a vegetarian, what would the cow in the field be worth? What would the sheep in the field be worth?
Well, they wouldn't last any longer, would they?
They'd be valueless, like rabbits. I had this conversation
absolutely.
recently with a vegetarian.
Yeah.
The only reason there is animal welfare is because sadly, they're a valuable commodity.
Yeah.
With respect to large animals.
Yeah. And then, absolutely. I was appalled by the Denmark giraffe. What in God's name was that about?
I have not a clue. Apparently there are too many giraffes in Europe and that boy was inbred. Did somebody say it was shot in front of children?
It was shot, but it was skinned and fed to lions in front of children. I saw the image.
And a safari park in England, half an hour prior to that, had said they would take the giraffe in.
Yeah.
I can't understand why or...
But if they were frightened of inbreeding, if the giraffe that was put down was the product of inbreeding to begin with, it could have been, you could have made sure by sterilization that it would not breed any further.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how was it born if it was a product of inbreeding? You know, where's the management within the zoo?
Yeah. It's crazy stuff. Where are you in zoos generally?
Are they a necessary evil? A lot of animals or a lot of breeds would not exist but for zoos. They're endangered.
Yeah.
But if you look at zoos and see polar bears, for example, pacing...
It's awful.
Okay, by and large, they have improved their welfare, bigger enclosures, more natural.
Yeah.
Like Dublin Zoo has the plains of Africa now.
Yeah.
But they're moving away from the caged animal. But still, I think there's a long way to go.
I suppose there's an argument too, Liam, that would say if you need to keep an animal in the evolutionary chain by putting it in a zoo, then you've lost the game. You're better not doing it at all. Let them die out.
But is it evolution or is it man-led? For example, the rhino. I was listening to a bit on Radio 4 yesterday about the rhino.
Horn.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There were 1,000 rhinos poached in South Africa last year. Vietnam.
Yeah.
It will cure everything. Cancer,
Oh yeah.
male impotence.
Yeah.
And that's what they're buying it for.
Yeah. And it's the same material.
$600 for 100 grams.
Yeah.
And it's the same as your nail.
Same as your nail. Rhino horn. Rhino horn. It is. I remember that. Yeah.
So like the endangered species, it's the zoos that are keeping them alive. And okay, the rhino's still in the wild to a degree.
Yeah.
But they reckon by 2015 the rhino population will fall beneath a viable level.
Yeah. And elephants, there's, was it every 15 minutes an elephant is killed in Africa?
Yeah.
I heard that on the World Service.
In the papers
overnight.
recently, there was showed a store, was it in Ethiopia, of ivory, filled to the roof.
Ivory, goodness gracious. Ivory looks magnificent on the creature.
Yeah.
You know, it's awful altogether. But have you done any work with exotic animals at all? Have you come across them much?
Thankfully, there are not that many exotic animals in
Yeah.
Newry. You see the odd lizard, iguana, the very occasional snake,
Yeah.
but that would be it.
But these creatures have no... I can't figure out why people keep iguanas and snakes. They've zero personalities, or am I wrong?
I think if you speak to somebody that likes lizards, they would disagree with you.
You could
but
have a relationship with a lizard.
I can't see it.
Hello, little lizard. How are you today?
Yeah, throw a ball.
Yes, go. Fetch.
I remember one night going out to... It actually happened in Newry, not 7 or 8 years ago. There was a carload of turtles intercepted at the Moore Country by the police. They'd followed them from Dublin Airport. And they were going to a certain establishment.
Yes.
Or so they thought. I remember going out with Stephen Philpott of the USPCA to this establishment. And the man had an alligator in his bathtub. Or maybe in a pond in the back garden at one stage.
Yeah.
But he had a house at the bottom, or shed at the bottom of the garden full of snakes. And there was an an Egyptian cobra
Suffering Moses.
that he would not go near. And if you walked past the glass vivarium, this thing was actually striking.
My God.
So he reckoned he's going to have to gas it. He couldn't, it wasn't viable for rehoming. But
No. Goodness gracious.
and very, very venomous.
Can't be careful. You really can't be careful enough.
One of these boys actually stood up and, fanned out, like, snake charmer job.
Yeah,
You see him
there he
fan out
was,
the...
out the side of the jaws. Yeah. I remember doing a nationwide program on a chap who kept snakes in Downpatrick, and he had dedicated one room of his house to the snakes. And I want to tell you the smell.
They don't smell nice.
You know, there's this huge snake, a cobra, big fellow that crushes you.
Python.
Python. He had a python. And he had fed the python a rabbit 3 days before. And the cycle of the rabbit in the snake had done its business. And at our moment of lifting the python,
He evacuated.
he evacuated. Blah. It was the most awful bit of business ever you saw in your
There's
life.
a python in this town. He's 12 foot long.
In this town?
Yes. He could be more now, for a couple of years since I've seen him. And his party trick is the owner sits in a chair. This boy wraps himself around the chair and drags the chair across the floor.
Where in God's name? That certainly wouldn't be on the Rathfriland Road.
No, it's not.
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't. It would be a lower class of establishment that would have that kind of thing. What fun would anyone get out of keeping a python like
I
that?
don't know. But I suppose it depends on your mindset. Who are we to judge?
Who are we to
What
judge?
is normal?
What is normal indeed? It's just madness. So back to more mundane things. You're going back to consultations and stuff like that,
That's
examinations.
Yeah.
And then what's your expectation of today in terms of busyness and the nature of the stuff that will be brought to you?
We were quiet for a week or two there. The credit card bills post-Christmas came out a couple of Mondays ago.
Yeah.
And
I remember that. That used to happen to me.
now you're in the money.
Doesn't happen anymore because I caught myself on.
So we were quiet, and that happens every year. But it's starting to pick up again. I suppose
Yeah.
people have been paid again, and as a result, they
Yeah,
can.
and the animal can then be looked after. I saw my wife, my dear Marie's, she's 2 cats. She's had them 13 years, and they've grown old. And they know the woman. They come to her, and they wait for her. They recognize her car, and they come. What's the impulse to do that? Is it
Food's
is it
probably
food?
where a cat's
Yeah,
concerned.
it's food. Yeah,
Yeah. Cats give conditional love.
yeah. But the dog's a nutcase.
Yeah.
He just goes, "Hey, I love you, baby."
This is also National Dental Month for pets. So we have a free dental check this month and 10% off all dentals. Dental hygiene is very important.
Yeah.
Can lead to a lot of problems in dogs and cats, kidney, liver, heart problems.
Really?
Yeah, gingivitis, bacteremia.
My God.
And
Is that sort of connected? You know, the jawbone's connected to the
Exactly.
backbone. The backbone's connected to the thigh bone.
it's also the diet
It
of the cat
passes
and
down.
dog, where they've been fed. Rubbish by and large. They're not eating what they were intended to eat.
Yeah.
But there are people cleaning teeth. You clean your teeth twice a day. You still have to get your teeth scaled.
Yeah. I think I'm possibly going to have the best teeth in the graveyard. And at this stage, my teeth will be with me forever because I'm far enough along the timeline to know that they're not going to disintegrate.
Have you no
now.
fillings, no?
Pardon?
Have you no fillings?
Oh, I have fillings, yeah, but they're all solid, good fillings, and it was absolutely wonderful. But there was a time I would have had to worry about teeth, but at 70 you don't. If your teeth are good at 70, they're going to stay good until you go down.
110, did you say?
I want 110. You know, it's all right. It's not such a long time, for goodness sake. And there's so many things to do. But I saw we were talking about slaughter earlier. I saw slaughter in Africa of a goat. Now, this was a goat the size of a donkey, whatever breed of goat it was in Africa. And by the time I was the guest of some priests, and they were taking me into a start of day mass in the darkness of the day. And between the time, when we were going in, I saw the goat the size of a donkey tethered outside. And this was their food. And their man who was their man about the house, Mr. Pam was his name. And he had to dispatch the goat. And he did that between the time of us going in and going out. And when we came out, the goat was lying on the ground, on its back, with its throat slit ear to ear, and the tiny pulses of the dying heart was still putting blood out.
Did they collect the blood? Yes. Or can you remember?
I think they did because there wasn't blood
Nothing
everywhere.
goes to waste.
Nothing goes to waste there. Yeah, they did.
Goat is actually the meat most eaten in the world.
Aye. Aye.
More than beef or lamb or chicken.
Have you ever tried it?
I've tried it in France once.
Yeah.
It was kid actually.
Yeah. Kid, yeah, I can understand. Young goat would be nice. Yeah, if you're going to go down that road. But it's well, I used to hunt when I shot. I shot for the pot. But when I stopped eating what I was shooting, I stopped shooting.
Okay.
And I think that was the right way to do it. Now, today after your consultations, you'll go into surgery and you'll be operating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a normal operation day, what would you be doing? Many, would you do 3, 4 operations?
Probably 6 or 7.
6 or 7 you do, yeah. And the longest of those might be what?
Depends. Bitch spays are probably the most routine.
Yeah.
Dog castrates, cat neuters.
Yeah.
You can get foreign bodies, enterotomies, exploratory laparotomies, tumor removals.
Yeah, all of that. Do you ever, when you're castrating a dog, sort of go, ooh, yourself?
I've been doing it too long to go
Too
like that
long
now.
to go like
yeah,
that.
but
maybe once upon a time.
it's a man thing. There's no point talking to a man about neutering a dog. You have to talk to his wife or his partner.
Yeah.
But it is beneficial.
Yeah.
Dogs that are neutered will live longer, no testicular tumours, no
Really,
anal adenomas and other,
Yeah.
no prostate problems.
Yeah.
And it also will stop wandering and wandering. It keeps them at home.
My wife might have tried that on me before she divorced me.
Yeah. So it is beneficial.
Yes, it's good. It's very good. So there you are. The day beckons and off you go. But when you're called out in and I often make contact with you, and your secretary, your nurse over there, he's called out, he's off. What might the emergency be that makes you go, yow, yow, yow?
Well, I'm seldom out of the office. I would be in the office 90% of the time, but sometimes the large animal end of things takes out.
Yeah.
So you have to go out and cover them.
Yeah.
And it's normally to an emergency like a calving or a lambing.
Yes.
Also, sometimes you're called out in small animal for people who can't bring the dog in or don't want to bring the dog in, and you'll go out to them. The problem is with small animal, everything we have geared towards small animal is in the office, so it's difficult to work out of a car.
And you're in Warren Point as well, of course.
We're in the Point, yeah.
What's the population of Warren Point like for being pet lovers?
It's very good.
They like it.
They do, yeah. Problem is the Point's quite insular, it's surrounded by mountains.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have the same catchment area as Newry.
But you invested in Warren Point. You put a surgery in Warren
We
Point.
put a surgery in the Point.
It's a big undertaking to
It
do
is a big
that.
undertaking.
Yeah.
But thankfully it's working out okay.
How often would you be in Warren Point?
Every morning and every night.
Every morning and every night. So it's good. It's good. Okay, we can find you in the meantime in Newry over at Patrick Street
That's correct, Ron.
in the Newry Veterinary Centre. And I can tell you these are good people from personal experience, having done business with you in the past. These are good, caring and understanding people, and I recommend them to you. We're going to play you a song before we let you go.
Thank you, Ron.
Don't play, how much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I do hope that doggy's for sale. We'll play you proper music now.